Namaste. In the ancient text, the Vedic Samhita, Purana, and the Agmas, the different books from Indian mythology, the universe is never described as an empty space. It is a multi-layered, multi-dimensional hierarchy of civilization called as a different Lokas. These beings do not use a physical spaceship because they have mastered the ultimate technology called consciousness. Let's take some different example. First, the 64 Yoginis, the matrix architect. The reality is telling that the 64 Yoginis are not merely a mythological figure, they are the 64 foundational energetic coordinates that govern time, space, and transformation. The evidence is telling in Tantric texts such as a Tantraloka, they are described as being who can manipulate a Tattvas, the elements of matter, then accelerate or declarate the time, render a physical bodies invisible, and cross between a universe, Brahmans, instantly. They are the supreme ruler of a cosmic operating system. The scriptural fact is telling in the Bhagavad Purana. These energies are documented as having the power to bend the reality itself. They are the ultimate reality travelers. Let's take one more example. Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, the masters of sound and science. In reality, the Gandharvas are the masters of Nada, cosmic resonance. They do not build a machine, they use sound frequencies to alter a physical matter. The Vidyadharas are literally translated as holder of knowledge. They are the scientists of the higher realm. Evidence is showing in the text state that their dwelling are in the Antriksha, the intermediate space between the planets, and the Mahabharata described them interacting with the humans, possessing of weapons, vehicles like Vimanas that operate entirely on a mental control and spiritual alignment. Let's take third example, the Yaksha and Yakshinis, the elemental custodians. In reality, they are the guardian of Earth's hidden treasure and dimensional gateways. They are hyper intelligent, shape shifting entities that exist in a state between the physical and subtle world. That's showing in the evidence of the Mahabharata, famous Yaksh Prashna and Yaksha tester Yudhishthira with the question that reveal an advanced, absolute understanding of cosmic law, cosmic timing, and the nature of existence. They are the IT managers of planetary ecosystem. Let's take fourth example, the non-mortal Chiranjeevis. In reality, being who have completely overcome a biological atrophy called death. Hanuman, Mahabali, Vyasa, Aswasthama, Kripacharya, Parshurama, Vibhishana, these all are non-mortal consciousness. In evidence, we can tell that they are not ghosts, they are living realities that passes through the yuga cycle. They represent a state of being where consciousness has completely stabilized the physical body, rendering it independent of aging or a decay. They stay on the earth to anchor the cosmic connection until the cycle resets. Fifth example, the theriomorphic beings we can simply call as animal codes. In reality, being like Garuda, the celestial avian, or the Nagas, the hyper intelligent subterranean serpent beings. Like example, like snakes. The evidence is telling that this proves that the highest intelligence in the universe does not require a human form. These are highly advanced civilization with their own lokas, like a Loka for the Naga. The Nagas are documented as a possessor of advanced medical science, deep spiritual wisdom, and the ability to control gravity. Let's take this all in one different concept, the physical proof, the spiritual doorways like Ajanta and Ellora caves. When you speak to a Zen audience about Ajanta and Ellora, particularly the cave number 16, the Kailash temple, you must expose this logical mathematic impossibility of a human construction. This is where we start our video's new concept, the mathematical and engineering impossibility. Data showing that Kailash temple at Ellora was carved out of a single solid basalt cliff. Over 2 lakhs to a 4 lakh tons of a rock had to be excavated. Let's see one of the crises of modern logic. Historians claim it was built in a less than 20 years using a chisel and hammers. Mathematically, this would mean a worker had to remove tons of thousands of tons of rock every single day, working 24 hours a day without a single mistake. The multidimensional truth is telling it was carved from the top down. It's standard engineering. You build from the bottom up so you can correct a mistake. In top down monolithic carvings, a single crack or a human error ruins the entire mountain. There are zero mistakes in Kailasa. This requires an absolute pre existing holographic visualization of the structure before the rock was even touched. Let's see the second concept, the spiritual doorway, gate of stone. Reality is telling that ancient texts like Mayamata and the Manasara, the technical manual of architecture, reveal that temples were not built for worship in the modern sense. They are the yantras in a three-dimension way. The construction method is telling us these sites were not constructed by a slaves hitting a stone. They were manifested through a spiritual technology. The advanced masters used the knowledge of the Tattvas to temporarily alter the atomic density of the stone, rendering it soft, malleable, allowing it to be shaped by the localized consciousness. Let's see one of the example of gateway function. Ellora and Ajanta are located on a profound telluric grid lines, earth energy channels. The precise geometry of these caves act as a lens when human enters these spaces and chant a current frequency like mantras. The cave altered the brain waves of the observer, creating a spiritual doorway that allows them to perceive and interact with the Yaksha, Gandharvas, and Yoginis who inhabit a higher frequencies layer of that exact location. So, by adding or summing this whole the concept, let's see some conclusion part. For the last 100 years, modern humanity has looked to the stars with a confusion and with the curiosity, finally beginning to accept the mathematical probability that we are not alone. We call it a alien hypothesis. And to our modern eras, it sounds like a new discovery. But look at the archives of our own history. Our ancient text didn't just accept that other intelligent being existed, they lived alongside them. Our books documented the Gandharvas, the Yoginis, the Siddhas, Shaptaritis, not as a mysteries, but as a citizen of a multidimensional reality. They map the temperament of this being, their creative forces, their destructive trials, and their role as a guardian of the cosmic order. Most importantly, they provided us with the actual methodology, the mantras, the yantras, and the internal discipline required to calibrate our own consciousness to meet there. We have spent the last century looking for their ship while our ancestors were busy building the doorway to communicate with them. This knowledge is not a fantasy, it is our inheritance. It is a map showing us that we are not just a primitive biological observer, but entities capable of bridging the gap between this whole world. We do not need to hunt for them in the cold darkness of space. We only need to return to the science of the spirit, which is the universal language of cosmos. Stay zen, stay open, and keep your mind in a peace. The doorway has not closed. We have simply forgotten how to turn the key. It is time we remember. Thank you.